Welcome to our guide on managing your finances after payday. In this insightful video, we'll delve into crucial strategies to navigate the temptation and excitement that often accompanies receiving your salary. From avoiding common pitfalls to smart spending habits, we'll explore practical steps to ensure your hard-earned money works for you. So, if you've ever wondered how to make the most of your paycheck without falling into financial traps, stick around. But before we dive in, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button to stay updated on our helpful content. Before we jump into key practices you can use to master your post-payday finances, here is a thought exercise. When your money comes in, is there a never-ending list of items you want to buy? From organizing your necessities to purchasing the cool stuff you spotted and saved on Instagram. Among these items on your ever-growing list, is it possible that many of those items are impulse craves? Is it possible those craves can lead to hasty decisions, which, if not careful, could end up costing you more money and eventually leaving you with a taste of regret? If your answer to these questions is yes, think about that. Don't worry, we won't expose you. Just think about it. In this video, we've listed some of the things that you shouldn't do after receiving payment for your work. Let's jump into 9 key practices to master post-payday financial management, starting with 9. Don't let people know when you get paid. People know when you get paid. If you've never been told this, we're here to inform you that you should never divulge when and how you get paid to anybody, including close friends and family, except a significant other. We're not sure if you've ever felt it, but you usually feel this rush and excitement when you get paid at the end of the month. Most of the time, all you want to do is fill your Instagram feed with stylish outfits and things you bought. And we understand that. All you want to do is show off your wealth. Therefore, I don't think it's wrong to talk to others. But the issue arises when your family or circle uses it as an excuse to borrow money. Most of the time, family will try to manipulate your emotions into helping them out because they know you won't turn them down. Some friends can even start a habit of calling you exclusively when you get paid. With such a trend, you would discover that if you're not attentive enough, you'd start sending money to everyone. In the end, you'll quickly realize that you've spent a lot of money on friends that you could have saved. They'll always be eager to spend if it's not their money that you worked so hard to obtain. You should avoid talking about your income for that reason. Consider this. You will never hear a wealthy person reveal their earning schedule to others. 8. Don't get fancy. As we previously stated, you'll want to inform friends as soon as you receive payment. Your financial aim will be ruined if you try to impress and get fancy as soon as you receive that check. You really should sit down and make a budget that is certain to work for you. You won't be able to track your spending if you don't. Without a spreadsheet outlining your ultimate objective, you'll discover that all you do is spend money on pointless items. Sometimes, when you're rich, all you want to do is wow your partner by getting him or her that pricey watch and taking them out to a fancy restaurant. Fancy items are quite expensive, and before you know it, you've blown all your hard-earned cash because you were trying to impress someone and didn't properly budget your money. Discover how to keep everything elegantly simple. Remember that most wealthy people are not boastful. Continue to be that way. 7. Don't be a serial spender. Don't spend money on stuff you don't need. As we previously advised, even if you stick to a spending plan, you almost always want the little things that you think you might need around the house. When you have money, you might consider getting some snacks or a sugar jar. Although it may appear that you aren't spending much, if you go back and review your spending sheet, you'll see that you have spent a lot of money. To avoid exhausting your budget by splurging on stuff you don't need, you must adopt a highly rigid don't buy stuff mentality. 6. Don't buy stuff you can't afford. Simply because you are wealthy does not obligate you to purchase every pricey item you find appealing, such as buying that new car, that pricey Rolex watch, or anything else not necessary. You can always create a budget so that whatever purchases you make, even that Rolex watch, stay inside it. You'll be better able to manage your life as a result. Neglect the adrenaline rush that makes you want to buy everything you see and urges you to spend the money as soon as it arrives in your account. And yes, we understand you can afford something that you are pleased to see the results of your efforts. After all, you have been daydreaming about that money for a very long time, and now it has materialized. Few people will inform you of this, but just because you have the cash on hand to purchase something doesn't guarantee you can afford it. Consider this: you can afford something if you can buy it more than 3 times without worrying about your financial security. Never use money you have saved to make a purchase. In essence, what we're trying to say is to let something go if it's out of your price range or is likely to be too pricey. You're not required to purchase pointless items. 5. Don't ignore your debts. You most likely have debts if you hold a 9-to-5 job. This is due to the likelihood that you rely on the pay you receive at the end of the month. The money is intended to cover your monthly expenses until you get paid again. You'll need to borrow money from others if you don't have a good strategy or enough funds to see you through the month. Asking for assistance occasionally is okay. Usually, the issue arises when it is time to repay the loan. Sometimes, when you have money, you don't consider the debts you borrowed. Instead, you spend the cash carelessly. The best course of action when you have debts is to put it all on paper so that you don't forget about them when you get paid. You can start by paying off your smaller obligations, then move on to your larger debts. You might make plans to pay a tiny amount toward each of the large loans. This will enable you to responsibly pay off your debt sooner. It becomes simpler for the bank or other individuals to trust you enough to grant you a loan once you have paid off your debts. Make sure you never neglect your debts at any cost. 4. Avoid getting hooked on good deals. When you see a television ad for a bargain on something and you have the money, there's a good chance you'll become addicted to whatever the merchant wants you to purchase. Let's take an example where a watch is advertised on television as being $75 when its regular price is $100. We assume this is a good deal. You have a $25 saving. You became hooked on a terrific offer, but what you're unaware of is you didn't intend to purchase a watch, did you? You couldn't afford it at all. However, you spent your savings on the watch since you noticed a wonderful price and wanted to seize the opportunity. That is what happens when you become dependent on a great offer. It's not a good thing if you end up purchasing everything that's on sale. Even if you say you're stocking up and buying on sale, you'll discover that the majority of what you buy may simply be unnecessary. You should be aware that even the craziest bargains can never be used as an excuse to spend money on items you don't need. 3. Don't loan money. Lending money to people on a regular basis is a dangerous idea, especially if they have a history of not repaying loans. This brings us full circle to the first tip. Don't disclose your pay schedule or earnings to others. Just because others know you have money, they'll ask you for loans. The more money you'll lend without a guarantee that you'll get it back, the sooner you'll find yourself bankrupt. And the only money you have is not in your possession, but rather with others who have no intention of repaying you because you are the source of their money. Some individuals will even become friends with you. They are aware that you are there for them anytime they find themselves in need of a loan. The question is, if they support you in the same way that you do them. Although it may be tough, learn to refrain from lending money to others. 2. Don't lose track of your money. The worst thing that can happen to your finances is losing track of your spending. You should never ignore any personal expenditures you make. Regardless of your salary level, you should always be aware of how much money you are bringing in, how much you are spending, and what your financial objectives are. You must maintain a budget that accounts for both your income and expenses. To accomplish that, this is an excellent approach to learn both what is happening to your money and how much you have. 1. Never be unintentional with your money. Since you now understand the importance of keeping track of your finances, you should also be aware of how crucial it is to be deliberate and pay close attention to your finances and budget. We suggest, if at all feasible, take a seat and make a list of how you spend and save your money. For instance, you should generally segregate your funds. If you have a savings account, money set aside for retirement, vacations, or even short-term goals like paying for a new car or school expenses shouldn't be held in the same account as emergency fund savings. Avoid combining all your savings into one account because you risk losing sight of them. We want to thank everyone for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you're new here, welcome, and consider subscribing for more videos like this. To learn more about money, check out the video on the screen. Always remember, financial freedom starts with a playful mindset. Live life on your terms. Catch you in the next video. Cheers!